Thank you so much. There's my audio. Awesome job, Chow Chow. Thank you very much for letting me know. Really pissed off that the NFL Network decided to go, say, hey, we're not going to show the Steelers. We'd rather show two guys talking about preseason football instead of seeing the Steelers play some freaking football. Dwayne Haskins out there. I've got the game on right now. I'll give you an update. Oh, there's a fumble. Steelers just fumbled. Okay, well, Detroit scored a touchdown. The game's kind of over now. I'll let you know exactly who that was. This was running underneath my player as I was trying to fix my microphone. I apologize for that, but I thank you very much, Steeler Nation, and let me know that it wasn't running. Detroit definitely recovered the ball, and it looks like a turnover. And once I get the replay here, I'll tell you who fumbled. Oh, it was onside kick. They went with the onside kick, and they recovered. High bounce. Hit 17, then hits the ground. 89 had a chance at it, and 18 on Detroit ends up with it. So it was an onside kick, wasn't a fumble, not a big deal. They just scored a touchdown right before that. So, it's not like they're going to win the game, but they've got to do some stuff. They got to play some plays. But at least we have the game up. Like I'm saying, I will still give you some play-by-play here as the game is still going on. And Detroit now has the football. Pat Freiermuth, good call, Gabe. Awesome game from Freiermuth. Immediately showing me now that he is the best receiving tight end on the team. I think he's a better receiver than Eric Ebron. I would rather have the ball go to him. He could have had 3. If that third ball was thrown out ahead of him with Mason Rudolph, he would have had 3. He would have had 3 easy ones. Ebron just has poor hand positioning. Pat Freiermuth jumped up in the air, spun around, and put his hands like this, both palms facing the ball as he was running the other way. And yes, Colton, go ahead and jump in. You've got the link from the old broadcast. I'll let you on. So go ahead and jump in. And if you need the link, I can send it to you. Not a big deal. So yeah, just check your email. It's on your email. Ebron is catching the football like this. Hands facing the football, one hand on the football, the other hand trailing the football. It's a lot tougher to catch a ball like this, than it is like this. You have more surface area hitting the football. We got a pass down for looks like a 9-yard gain to number 84, Detroit with the football. They're moving past midfield. Looks like they're down around the 30. Looks like he made it down to about the 34-yard line. It sets up a 2nd and 2. Back to pass. Throwing the ball over through the defender. Well defended actually by Spillane back in coverage, dropping back onto the running back that came out of the backfield. And Spillane, I thought, had an up-and-down game. A lot of people were upset about the touchdown that they scored. He was held like a mother effer. So I'm not really going to blame him on that one. But let me pull this up so I can see if you're trying to jump on here, Colton. But yeah, now for some reason I got 2 players up with the game. This is odd. This game is odd. So I just shut one of the players. That way I can see everybody. I can see the chat. Back to pass again, 3rd down and 2. Throw it low, well defended by 27. All right, look up 27 here. See, I'm not at the game. I got to look up my guys, and it looks like a bunch of my windows shut. Not a big deal. Oh, here it is. Here's my stuff. So 27 being Marcus Allen. Well, I should know Marcus Allen. He's been on the team. 4th and 2, they're going for it. So we'll watch and see what they're doing here on 4th and 2. There's only 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go, but this is why I wanted to watch the end of the game. Haskins in the 2-minute drill if we get the ball back. Ball thrown complete at the 30-yard line. 2 Steelers defenders run into each other, and the number 85 runs the ball all the way down to the Steelers' 2-yard line. That was not a good play on defense. Kennedy with the reception, the catch and run after 2 Steelers defenders run into each other on 4th and 2, setting up a big play for a first down from about the 2-yard line, hitting the 2-minute warning right now. So now we'll go back to questions, guys. We'll start talking about the game a little bit and see what you've seen. Participants, still just me. Okay, so Let me bring up my sheet. And also, yeah, let me know what you guys have seen. Yeah, you see Sexy returning kicks. That's his new nickname for me because it was a sexy return by Sexton. Dude was down on the 2-yard line, flipped the field because Fox is a phenomenal punter. Phenomenal. And that's the type of punter that you want in a game. Somebody can flip the field, kick the ball 66 yards, 70 yards. The guy was killing it today. But that play, Sexton said, "You're not flipping the field on us. I'm flipping it on you." He ran it back to midfield. That was a great play by Sexton. Might make the might have a chance of making the roster, but the problem is we already have a returner with Ray. So I don't see him making the roster strictly as a returner. I see him possibly making the practice squad as a returner. But yeah, the roster, I'm not sure. I can't bet on that. I think Anthony Johnson, with the amount of special teams and different special teams that he plays, might have a better chance of making the roster than Sexton right now. But I think Sexton's got a great shot at the practice squad. And if anything happens to Ray, you bring him in to do some returning. Got everybody talking here. Chiffon Valentine over on Twitter. I don't know if he would have caught it with Mason because Mason would have underthrown it. Very cute. Love it. Chow Dad, seems like Ebron had more drops today than catches. T plus has poor effort to break up a tackle. Could have been a touchdown. Yeah, like I said, with Ebron, it's his hand positioning. He does not catch the ball like that. A lot of body catches. When he dropped the ball, it was a body catch. He had a big catch that was the first touch pass that was thrown to him up over the top by Rudolph. He caught the ball like this. One hand in front, one hand behind. And it's a trail position. It's bad hand positioning, and you can't really coach it anymore. He is what he is. He's just a super athletic guy, and he makes more plays than he doesn't. But, man, his technique, and especially for being a tight end, because tight ends usually have amazing technique. Yeah, Kenny Beamer, good point, too. Yeah, Marsh was held on that as well. Good seeing all these young guys. There's going to be a tough decisions to make here in Pittsburgh with the way everything's going on right now. At defensive line. I mean, you've got 8 guys that can play. Did you see Mondu going downfield on kick coverage? He's the first guy down the field on one. He's the second guy down the field on another. And the guy is just a monster, a bowling ball going down the field. We're back at the game, first and goal from the 3, handoff to 46, and he falls into the end zone for a touchdown. Pretty well blocked. I mean, this is not the point of the game where I'm expecting us to make big plays. They may try to onside kick again. We shall see. So another touchdown here by Detroit. Extra point forthcoming. And I will let you know how the extra point shapes up. But still, across that line, I mean, we know we got to it. We got Alualu. We got Hayward and Alualu making plays. Alualu batting down that pass on 3rd down. Coming on second string. I mean, Davis was looking good. Loudermilk's looking good. As much as you guys know, I don't like to talk about Loudermilk. Cut him, man. He had that personal foul. The extra point is good. He had that personal foul, man. He sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I like me some Loudermilk. He was pushing really well at the line of scrimmage. He was 3 yards in the backfield, 2-3 yards in the backfield on that 4th and 1 run. Nobody came off his butt. If somebody came off his butt on that 4th and 1 run, they would have stopped that in the backfield. But, good play for them. They made some conversions here. So now with 1:56 left to play, the score is 26-20 in Pittsburgh's favor. And I will let you know if they line up for another onside kick. There's some big special teams play right now going on. Oh, Frank Richard asking for somebody to ship some Bud Light Steelers cans to Montana. That's a long way for a Bud Light Steeler can to go. You got a better chance of getting some icy out there. I'm sure there's some Yinzers out there in Montana that can find a way to get icy from their local distributors. Shame that Haskins didn't play longer. Well, this was expected. It was actually the reason why Haskins didn't play longer was because Ben played 4 drives. I wasn't expecting Ben to play more than 1 or 2. He played 4 drives. Punt, touchdown, field goal. Great job, Ben. And then you had Mason come on, field goal. Haskins come out, field goal before they lost possession on that last one. And now we'll have to see what happens here. They're lining up for the kick. I will let you know if it's a onside or not, because I know I'm not sure if any of you guys can watch this game. And Colton, Colton, I'll send you a link. Give me a second here, especially since everything's starting to wind down. It should be in your email though, man. I'm on that same link. I just got to find my email and get to it. But onside kick forthcoming. We'll see if it's onside or if they just decide to try to punt it deep. Okay, Colton, there you are. I'm going to forward this over now, Colton. Colton. And I don't know how this, I can't see the send for some reason. There it is. It's the bottom of the screen. All right, Colton, you got the link. McFarland looked like he's back to return. Yep, number 26 with the long hair. And is it going to be onside? Nope. Kick is deep. Back to McFarland, deep into the end zone, out of the back of the end zone. That will be a touchback to the 25. And we will see Haskins, 2-minute drill coming out on the field, minute 58, full complement of timeouts going on. So I'm excited to see this. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce my co-host and partner in crime, Colton Gesser, as he jumps on the Steeler Nation Q&A post-game, which is still a current game, as Haskins comes out on the field for this 2-minute drive. Colton, good to see you, my friend.
What is up, my man? Good to see you.
Don't delete my emails, man. This is how you can get back on my email.
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't delete them. I'm like, it's like they deleted themselves. I'm here looking. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I'm like, he's saying the same link. There's no link to join. When I type in your name, it just comes back to draft day stuff.
Oh.
Like, oh, no, you need.
Yeah, that's odd because you have Google. Yeah, your Gmail.
Yeah,
that's all right. I just shot it back over to you. You're on. So welcome back. The game is still going on. Minute 50. It was a handoff to Samuels, and Detroit called timeout after a short gain of 0, which is the shortest gain you can have.
Yeah, NFL Network. Good job, boys. Appreciate it.
Oh, my Lord. So it's still not on. So
no.
They're like, we'll tell you what's going on. The game, it's like the other game hasn't started, has it?
Yeah, no, they're on. It's the Raiders and Rams.
Okay, now I understand the reason. And their reasoning is the Raiders game is going to have starters on the field. Steelers game isn't. And that is the only thing that I can say.
Yeah, but you play the game.
Yeah.
Play the game till you go to a cut where it's like the game's kicking off like, all right, we're going to bring you live to the Raiders Rams, and not just cut it and show highlights. Like people, if they wanted to watch highlights, they would go to YouTube, Twitter, and all that stuff to watch highlights.
We just had a nice catch, circle route and catch and run from Bellage down the field. Big pickup on this play. Got out of bounds. Looked like he picked up close to 20. Nice stiff arm as he's going out of bounds. I know he probably wanted to come down inbounds, but so they are now at their 44-yard line. Handoff to Samuels. Looks like no gain again. Gain of 1. Sorry, I'll say he got up to about 44. So no gain for Samuels. Bringing up a second down intention.
Yeah, great job by Detroit there.
Great
job by Detroit.
Right. And Steeler Nation, I'll be getting to your comments here soon. We are going to keep our attention on the Steeler game right now, because we want to report to you what's going on, because I know most of the nation cannot see the game. But since we here at Steeler Nation have our ways and have our inside information, we can get you the play-by-play as it's going on currently. Line up 2nd and 10, handoff to, looks like Samuels again, swarmed in the backfield one more time, no gain. Bringing up 3rd and 10. And there's now 49 seconds on the clock. It looks like the clock is now running, because I believe Detroit is out of timeouts.
Yeah, they are. I saw on Twitter the game's over. I'm not sure if you're watching a stream. I'm assuming.
Yeah. I'm slow. So
no, you're way better.
Because Twitter tells you what's going on. I want to tell you every single thing that happens.
You're way better than I am right now. I'm over here checking Twitter. I don't have no stream, nothing. NFL Network.
I'm an anal Steeler fan. Oh, so 3rd and 10. It looks like Samuels in the backfield again. Another handoff to Samuels, this time with a nice shorter gain. But at least they gained some yardage. They were still in the backfield. He did a nice out cut, skidded around one guy, got about 4 yards. And that will end the game as the time runs out on the field. Handshakes all around. Female referee on the field. Very nice to see that. She's doing a good job. That's it. Tomlin out on the field, shaking hands, giving a little bro hug to the coaches on the other side of the field. Nice to see. Genuine respect on the other side of the field there for Tomlin. And another overall, I thought it was another good performance by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of good things to see with the youth. A lot of good things to see with the veterans that finally got in the game. And let's start off, Colton, by talking about Mr. Perfect, Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, he looked good. It gets you all excited. David Carr and those guys were like, didn't see a lot about Najee Harris. You're going to see plenty of them. You've seen him the first 3 games. This is kind of letting Ben get out and sling the rock a little bit.
Right.
And, yeah, he still used Najee Harris as well. So there's nothing to say. I mean, we talked about it on draft day that this is a little competition for Ebron. I think this is really what it comes down to. And Ben loves some Friar Muth down there in the red zone. Got to him twice in the end zone. Wake up call, Ebron. Here he comes. Here he comes. So heads up for that. I know you were pumped about it on draft day. It was more of a shock for me. But more and more, I love it. You called it. I'm excited, and I think Ben has a new flashy toy, another one to go along with Najee in the red zone. And my Lord, that guy doesn't drop the ball.
And I'm just psyched at the way that the draft fell, because by position you couldn't have gotten a better player where we picked our guys in the draft. First round was where we were going to get the best running back possible with our pick. If we waited till the next round, we would have not gotten the best running back in the draft. Second round, we got the second best tight end in the draft, and he waited till the second round. Nobody else took him. Everybody else passed on him. But I was surprised he was there. Steelers were surprised he was there. Sprinted to the podium, and Muth is now on the team. And then followed up with Kendrick Green, showing he can play, showing he can go down and knock free safeties down on the 3rd level, not just the 2nd level. This guy's athletic. And Steelers love themselves some athletic centers, and then rounding it out
too, man. He's nasty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He fits that offensive line and that need they have to go along with Dotson, who was pumped on draft day when we had him on. He was excited to block for Najee, and you're seeing it.
That's such a blessing to have him on the show too, as we picked that, and he getting to see his reaction about having a new guy to block for, and a guy that he knew about in college, because, I mean, he's only a year removed from college. He knows who Najee Davenport is. Shit, Najee Harris is. Damn it. And then following up the 4th pick with Moore, who now looks like he's going to be our swing tackle and extra tackle on the field. I mean, this is hit. And I want to make a quick shout out, too. If you guys were watching Zach Banner on his first 2 drives, he was snowplowing people. He is amazing. The guy is, you loved him when he was an extra tackle, cheering him when he come out on the field. Now you're going to love him being in there. And shout out you too to Anthony. Good to see you there over on Facebook. Good to see you, man. Everybody shout out, say what you think and what's going on. Mr. Anthony Laird, I appreciate it. You might get in, Colton. Yeah, Ken Beamer's making fun of me because I don't know how to do my job.
You're the best. You're trying to run the thing, watch the Steelers game. So I'm saying,
and this is what people don't realize is usually when you watch a show, you have somebody behind the scenes that's directing all of the shots, moving to camera. You got somebody else that's coming in, giving you the information. Who's giving you information? What's Twitter saying? What's Facebook saying? I'm running all that myself. I did that all draft day, switching between the camera angles, talking to everybody. I was running my own switcher, running my own information when we're talking to you guys directly too, because you guys, I mean, Steeler Nation, just nobody adds to the fun more than Steeler Nation, because Steeler Nation knows football better than any other fan base on the planet.
You're the best there is, man.
You're the best.
You're the best there is.
You're the best.
Got to give the man his credit. Got to give him credit, man. You do a lot of stuff that goes unseen, and got to give you some credit for that. But yeah, I mean, geez Louise, Dan Moore, especially if Chooks today was a little bit better. If he continues to have those struggles, Dan Moore might slide in that spot. He's looked really good. He looked good in camp.
Yeah, and I can't disagree with that because he was a left tackle in college. He looked like that was the position he's played the best at in training camp thus far. I mean, Chooks is the vet. That's his natural position. I still like, we have to wait till the games to see how he's actually going to do. But yeah, I mean, he's there. If there's an issue, I'm sure that they can plug Moore in there, and Moore's going to have some problems too, because you got to put on your big boy pants in the NFL. You've got, the best in the leagues that are coming in off of the edge. And we got a lot of edge talent that we play against twice a year in Baltimore, twice a year in Cleveland, ad nauseum, wash, rinse, repeat. That's 4 games right there. You got to have your big boy pants on. So looking forward to him to at least, if he comes in the game, to at least kind of slow up and have a game plan set there, where right now it looks like I want to answer a question here with what I'm going to say with Frank Ricard over on Periscope. How do I feel about the Bills week 1? They've had our number for the last few years. That goes with my thought of Matt Canada. Matt Canada, man, this is a different offense. We finally have a chess master running as an offense coordinator. We've had stats guys, we've had scheme guys, but this is an X's and O chess guy. He sees what you're doing. He's setting up his plays with other plays. He's running that quick wide receiver coming down on the jet sweep. Is he going to hand it to the wide receiver? Is he going to fake to that? Is he going to hand to the up back? Is he going to fake both through the boot? He's going to throw downfield. You don't know, because we run all 3 plays out of that same set. So that is what you get with Matt Canada. So I'm with this personnel that we're seeing right now, and Colton, you're seeing it too. What did we score just about on every single possession that we had where we were trying to score? I mean, that last time we were just running out clock. I mean, we weren't even trying to score with that last Haskins run.
Yeah, the offense just looks different. It comes down to Najee Harris. That's why I was really all, and Dotson was the same way, all like gooey and gaga for it, because you know how much of a difference maker he is. And the guy doesn't drop the ball, knock on wood.
Yeah.
He's that number 1 back. He's that Le'Veon Bell 300+ touches guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to pick up yardage. And you see the difference. If you watched any of the preseason games, when he's run the ball, he's running with the first team offensive line. They're getting holes for him.
Yeah.
They may not be the biggest. He's finding a way. If he's at the line, he's getting 2-3 yards, and that's moving the sticks.
And when he's not getting holes, he's still bouncing off people in the backfield and picking up 6 yards. I mean, the guy is talent.
So
he can jump over that guy that's not blocked.
Figure 3rd and 1 last year, 4th and 1. They're sitting here throwing bubble screens trying to get a first down. You still have that in your back pocket now. Right. But you got Najee Harris. You're not messing around. Give it to him twice. If 3rd down doesn't get it, 4th down, you'll get it. Yeah. Give him the ball. He'll find a way to get a yard.
And Kevin Schwartz over there on Twitter, I love Jameer Jones. I'm with you, Kevin. I think he's a hell of a talent. I don't know if he can make the roster, but if he doesn't, he's definitely a priority practice squatter. Vernon, I felt you too. I was pissed when they cut off the game after Haskins' first drive. Woody wants to know if our pass coverage is ready. I thought it looked better today. I mean, sure, they're getting open on certain schemes and certain drives, but they were holding a lot in the backfield. There was a lot of times where we were playing zone. So yeah, you're going to hit some spots in the open coverage, and good quarterbacks are going to hit those spots. And when you get farther down the line, they're not going to make as many plays, but I did like what I saw out of Lane today. I did like what I saw out of Pierre today, and I did like what I saw out of Sutton today. And obviously we're starting to see Sutton starting to come down into the box and play back to his old slot safety role. They're putting Pierre on the outside. Yeah,
that's my only question. I dropped it in our group chat. That's kind of the only missing part. And it gets you nervous because Joe is not young. Joe still can ball out, and he's proven it today. Almost had another pick today.
Yeah.
If he gets banged up for any what reason, don't wish that, because love Joe, and that'd be a huge loss in the secondary. It's just one of those things you think about. Cam Sutton, they're kind of like sliding back inside because they don't know if they trust him outside kind of thing yet. So that's my only thing. Again, if Joe's healthy all season, great. You might see Minka shade on that side of the field just to help out Sutton. And I think Sutton will get his feet underneath of him as the season goes on.
Yeah.
But that first game, you might see some shots at him. Josh Allen's got paid. They bring in Emmanuel Sanders. You know what Diggs is there. So they might take some shots at Sutton there. So hopefully the Steelers are ready for it. But to be honest, Buffalo struggled last year in the run game. They bring in Najee Harris. The run game looks better with the offensive line. They're more aggressive. I think it's a different result possibly this year for Pittsburgh. And figure, oh my gosh, a rotation on the front. These guys are going to be fresh. Melvin Ingram's going to be fresh. Highsmith's going to be fresh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
And you can do that. Like, that's the entire – you have a rotation for the entire front seven on our team. And I don't think we've ever had that.
No,
like you can spell. Loudermilk can come in for a play. You know, even if it was if Mondo makes the – I don't even know if he's making the team, but if he does, he can rotate in. Loudermilk can rotate in. You know, Bugs and Davis can rotate in. We already know Wormley can play. We already know Alualu can play and is going to play and is going to start. And we know Tua can play. It's going to be awesome. And I, like I'm saying, I think we are 6 deep at outside linebacker. We talked about Jones. Roche's been dropping down in the depth chart, but he's still getting in the backfield. He's still – I watched the game. He kind of did his what's the other guy? His Jarvis Jones impression instead of his Roche impression. He's like keep trying to go speed around and drive and running way out of the play. And that doesn't always work on this level. I know it works a lot in college, but you got to have more than the speed rush game to be able to get people in the backfield.
Yeah, like you said, they're so deep. It's absolutely insane. They're going to be so fresh, hopefully up front. God forbid someone gets knocked for a game or two. They're so fresh to keep rotating. Because Ingram going on the line if necessary. Yeah. You know, you could fill in a player 2 for Tuitt, Hayward, you know, and like we just said, Alualu is going to be big for them again. He was really good for them early last season. He was probably one of the best nose tackles in the game the first 4 weeks of the season before he got hurt. And never really seemed to get back to where he was. But he's healthy in camp, took a steal of a deal to stay in Pittsburgh. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I know, right? That might turn out to be the best decision he ever made.
Yeah.
Because he's staying in the city where he's building his brand. He knows the Steelers have money next year. I mean, I can see them throwing a big contract at Juju and retaining Juju next year. That would be – and then his brand keeps continuing to grow.
I think that's what happens. I know Charlie Batch and those guys were talking about it on the broadcast today.
Yes.
They came back on a cheap deal, and he's like, the Steelers have money next season. I'm like, that's what I'm telling people. Like, do you think Juju's staying? He took a deal when he turned down playing with the best quarterback in the league in Mahomes, Super Bowl Hall of Fame coach, and Andy Reid.
Yep.
Could have easily went to Baltimore, got paid more, been the number 1 guy in Baltimore.
Could have played with two league MVP quarterbacks.
Yep, and he chose and turned down money to play in Philly, and instead took a discount to come play back in Pittsburgh. I guarantee Pittsburgh talked to him like, we're going to take care of you next year. They love him. Steelers love him. The fan base loves Juju. He loves the Steelers. And like you said, and like Bat said, they got money to spend next year. I think they're going to take care of franchise Jew, and Juju Smith-Schuster will be back on a long-term deal where he belongs. I cannot – that's one of those guys. I can't do another jersey, man.
You don't want to have to put that 19 away. I understand. I understand that. He is a Pittsburgh guy. Like that's hard-nosed, working hard, does a lot for the community. Does a ton for the community. Those are the kind of guys I want to keep.
He's our current Hines Ward.
Yeah, yes.
I agree. Oh my God. I agree. I watch him play. He's Hines. Charlie Batch was comparing him to Hines too. He blocks really well.
Yep.
Gets some possession catches.
Yep. Does the dirty work. He's open on third down, moves the chains, does whatever he can to throw his body in the play, to make that play, to move the chains, to get the score. So fun to watch.
I love him.
And thank you so much, Daryl Zahner over there on Facebook. Nice coverage and breakdown, guys. Thanks. Anthony again, Laird, chiming in. Always good to be here with you. Of course, Kenny Beamer. You're doing great, Stryker. Thank you so much for the kudos, Steeler Nation. This is why we're here. If you got any extra questions or anything that you see, I mean, I'm going to start running down my list here soon. And talk about. Anthony says first team offense and defense look good. Loving the depth we have so far. And that's how you can tell in preseason games. If you're winning games in the preseason, it's because your depth is great, good to great. And it showed you that, the Philly game, first team wasn't moving the ball well. Second team started moving the ball really well and scoring when Haskins got on. And then, I think Dobbs had that interception, but Haskins pretty much put that game away just by himself. completely throwing the team on his shoulder when we were down by, I think, like 17 points, something like that. Or and then just touchdown, touchdown. Field goal. Game over. Freaking great. But then the defense also started playing better in the second half when you had, like we're talking about, this roster is deep in the front seven. Like we're 6 players deep on edge. We are, five players deep on inside linebacker. Now 6 probably, since we got the new inside linebacker. Yeah. And the line, we were like 9 players deep on defensive line. So this is why we're able to grind out these games at the end. I know Detroit was able to score on us a couple times here too at the end. But I mean, since we were playing first team, technically we were down to our 4th team squad. The people that probably aren't going to be on this roster were playing there. Walton was in there at the end. I know he's probably not going to be on this roster. But we'll see how it shakes out. But that's just like depth. If you're scoring a lot in the second half, it's because your depth's good. Scoring a lot in the first half, you've got some good players. And obviously I was happy to see Ben get the scoring off to a, we haven't seen Ben play in a long time. So it's really nice to see him out there and make plays.
Man, it was the first drive. Oh my gosh, he looked like vintage Ben from like his 2nd or 3rd year in the league. I'm like, I was saying to my father, I'm like, dude, Matt Cannon is definitely young in the headset. I know he can't hear him. The headset's like, throw it away. What are you doing running around? Oh my gosh. I'm like, please, Ben, please do not be anything stupid. He looked great. Pump fake. So I'm sitting there watching after the pump fake. I'm like, is anything in the arm? And he like grabbing. I'm like, dude, he looks great. I'm excited, man. Oh my gosh. And a tight end that can catch the ball.
Right. Like this, like, did you see the way he in midair turning around between 2 people, elevating to put both palms on that football to grab cradle and go to the ground? That was, man, I don't think I've ever seen a tight end on our team do that. I've seen Keith Miller with the big mitts jump up and do that, but not jump, twist, rotate, catch, grab, drop, and land like that. That was like a whirling dervish.
Yeah, like the guys were talking about in the broadcast. He played basketball and he's boxing out. He's using his size to box out the D-back and linebackers and just making plays. And he has a fantastic catch rate. Doesn't drop the ball. I think I saw numbers from training camp since
Alex Kozora putting out those numbers. Yeah,
he had like the lowest drop percentage or the highest catch.
Highest catch rate ever tracked since he's been tracking Steelers receivers in training camp, and I think that's for like 5 or 6 years.
So I mean, geez,
yeah, it's amazing. We got a couple comments here about the secondary. Anthony Laird, Edmonds looked good tonight as well. Kevin Schwartz is concerned about the defense. He misses Rod Woodson. Everyone misses Rod Woodson. Rod Woodson was insane. Daryl Zahner now, he's asking what our thoughts are on Bush still struggling from his injury.
I think Bush is going to be fine. I think he's going to get his feet back underneath of him. It's not easy coming back from an ACL injury, especially when the guy has just a lot of speed. That was kind of his game.
Yeah.
I think he's fine. He wasn't always the best in pass coverage, so I feel like it's not like, oh my gosh, this isn't anything new. He's still got to develop that. I think maybe taking the pressure off of him of running the defense, where to put guys. Everyone's like thinking, because I know they were talking about it today. Joe Sherber is going to be their green dot. That's going to be their guy.
Yeah.
And that's not a shot at Bush. Bush did a heck of a job last year before he got hurt. They had one of the best defenses in football. He's fine, but. Yeah. When you have a guy like Joe, who's a Pro Bowler, who's done it for 5 or 6 years now, why put the extra pressure on Bush when he's trying to get back and is worried about getting himself in the rhythm again? Let Joe take care of it. And honestly, it's like having 2 green dots on the field.
Exactly. So great point, Colton. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I was going to follow it up with. It's an excellent point. And what I would say also is, the good thing about Bush and why I'm not worried about him this year like I would have been in other years, he doesn't have to be the guy. He doesn't have to be the guy. We picked up Joe Sherbert to help him out. Sherbert's delicious. But Joe Schobert, he knows how to play. He runs defenses. He's mic'd up on the field when they have national games with Jacksonville, when Jacksonville made their one national game last year, but they still mic'd him up. And he was running the show. He knows what he's doing. He's a leader on the field. You've just taken all of that, all of the things that might have been pressure on a young player like Bush taking it off of his shoulders and saying, now all you got to do is go out there and make plays. And for a playmaker to be able to go out and just make plays, I'm excited to see what he's going to do between the whistles this year. Really am.
I'm not, like I said, like you just said there, I'm not too concerned about him at all. I think it was just securing the inside. I think they've noticed Spillane not playing up to the standard of where he was last season.
Yeah.
He struggled again today a little bit. He had that nice play in the tackle for the loss.
Yeah.
The next play, I'm like, oh, he's coming in and making another big play, like shut everyone up. And he took the wrong route on the sack, and next with the guy scampers for like 15 yards.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not really too sure what's up with the Spillane train this year in camp and what's going on, but it hasn't been great. And I think they just wanted to secure the inside with a guy they can get for dirt cheap, and they got a Pro Bowler for dirt cheap. And why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what it was. Secure him and help Bush out. So Bush doesn't have to have all the pressure coming back, where he can get himself back and going over time. And by the time he does, he'll be ramped up in midseason form, hopefully.
Thanks a lot, Brian Brown. They loving the terrible sheet. He's saying this is the terrible blanket you can get right there at the Steelers pro shops right there. Got this one right at the stadium. So I use this. I usually use it as my throw when I'm sitting on the couch doing games, when I'm on the podcasts, when it's chilly out. I'll throw the terrible towel throw on me and keep me going. But cheers on that one. And it's usually like $40 or $50. And the one time I went to a Steeler game, it was a playoff game, and two San Diego girls come in. This is like January, and they're in jeans and a sweatshirt. And I'm in snow gear, layered up with long underwear, 4 or 5 layers on top, and a wool hat. Girls didn't even have a hat on. I said as soon as they walked in, my dad and I, we're both in snow gear. And they're like, you girls are going to get cold. And they're like, oh, we'll be okay. It's okay. By the second quarter, they walked in and grabbed one of these towels, terrible towel blankets, just so they could wrap up and not freeze. I mean, you got to be smart when you're going to a game that is sub-freezing. It's just something that they don't have to deal with out there. Oh, I can just put a sweatshirt on. It'll be okay.
Yeah. I wish it was that easy. I wish it was a sweatshirt and that's it.
Right. Yeah, Chow Dad was saying he's worried about Juju as he wants to play for a Hall of Fame quarterback. If Ben retires, we don't have one. I thought that was a little bit of speak there, Chow, just so he could differentiate Ben's skill set by refusing to play with 2 MVP caliber quarterbacks. I think it's more going to be because of his brand, and he loves the community. I think that's what's going to keep Juju Smith-Schuster in Pittsburgh after Ben retires. So we'll have to see.
I'm not like you just said, I wouldn't take that one that seriously because he just turned down playing for Patrick Mahomes. So I mean, he could have easily just been secured the next 5 years with as they're naming this kid the next, GOAT. So
yeah,
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think he took a little discount, helped Pittsburgh out. And I think in the contract negotiation, Pittsburgh said, we're going to take care of you after this, see what happens. Or he has a fantastic season and he gets a $15, $16 million deal from somewhere else. So unless someone comes blowing out cash for him, I think he's
even that. I mean, he's already shown that money is not the reason why he makes decisions. That's going to be the biggest thing that I think will keep him in Pittsburgh is he is going to take a little less money to be happy and to be playing where he wants to play for an organization that he knows is looking out for him. Which is what you do not get anywhere else in the NFL. You get money thrown at you. Wallace leaves, goes down to Miami, throwing buckets of money on at him. Here you go, tons of money. What's he there for, like a year, 2 before they ship him out of town?
Yeah, like Minnesota was bad. Yeah, it was not the same player.
I mean, Sanders got a good contract out in Denver as well. He played out the contract. He got a championship out there as well. I think he was on that team. And then he's been moving around the league ever since after that. So it's like, do you want to take the money? They still got a championship. I'm sure he doesn't care. He got a championship. He didn't care. Nobody else from the Young Money crew got a championship other than right now Sanders. So, all right. So there goes my argument. I just argued myself out of it.
I hear you. And I mean, to be honest, it's not like Pittsburgh right now. It doesn't look like Pittsburgh's in a bad spot next year. Even if Ben does retire. Haskins has shown big signs of being their future guy. Another crazy idea I kind of threw out there, Aaron Rodgers. He's kind of available next season,
Yeah.
and he wants toys. Pittsburgh's got a lot of toys. They have a really good defense, and they got some money to spend. So people, you may not think that's a reality,
Wow.
but
That's a great point.
if he's
That's
that
a great
upset,
angle. I haven't thought of it from that angle before, Colton. So I appreciate that insight.
yeah, I think it's something to actually think about. I think he's going to want to win. He's not just going to go run somewhere to get money.
Yeah.
He's going to have a legit defense still because the defense is young. They're still going to have Bush, TJ,
Right.
Minka.
Yep.
Hayden wants to stick around for another few years, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Cam to it. So he's going to have a legit defense.
Yeah.
He's got weapons out the wazoo because Najee's going to be back clearly.
Yep.
Fryermuth.
Yep.
Receivers. I mean, geez Louise, he's got plenty of toys to mess around with. They're contenders again, just like this year.
Right. And then we're probably also going to be drafting some linemen early next year as well, just to beef up the line. I mean, that's what it takes a couple years to come through and try to fix things, because I know Trey Turner's only signed a 1-year contract. He's not, so we don't know if he's going to be back, or if they're going to try to re-sign him after that, right? It was 1-year contract with Trey Turner, right? Okay. So remember, just making sure I remember correctly. So we do eventually have to replace that spot, and I've always said Dotson might go back to right guard. That's where he played all through high school, all through college. He can play both sides. Obviously, he's a smart kid, but I think he might be best at right guard because that's just his natural position, and he'd be able just to ball out. And maybe we go out and draft a left guard next year high, so we can have him move to his natural position and really strengthen that line. So that'd be interesting to see, just different things to think about. And
I got a question for you. So
sure.
From my overall perspective regarding this team, I think their weakest spot is that other corner spot. Would you like to see the Steelers address it? They have freed up some cap, which I do believe is going to end up being for TJ Watt.
Yeah.
But they have freed up some cap here.
Yeah.
Would you like to see them go out and do anything? I saw Henderson was available from Jacksonville, their first-round pick last season. Who had signs. It was a top pick. I'm kind of shocked the Steelers they might have kicked the door on it. You're not in the meeting rooms with Colbert and Jacksonville's GM. Would you like to see
maybe they're asking for two? But you said he's still. How did he do last year? Did he have a good year?
The games I watched, he was good. I think it's just a whole new regime there. Urban Meyer didn't draft him.
Yeah.
And he's available, kind of thing.
So he played 1 year on his rookie contract.
Correct.
This is the exact same situation as Minkah Fitzpatrick. It is. I wouldn't say specifically to pick up this guy. I do think the Steelers are going to make a move for a cornerback before the first game. I think we're going to pick up a corner from somewhere. I really do. It's because we lost Nelson. We lost Nelson and Hilton. We lost two positions. We're trying to fill two positions with one guy in Sutton. If Pierre can't hold down the fort, we've got to find it somewhere else. So I don't know if we are waiting for cut downs because we might have another Hayden moment where somebody dumps a guy that's just because it's a cap casualty at that point and they're trying to save money and we're able to go scoop them up for like a cheap 2-3 year contract. And it's kind of like what we did with Hayden, which was under market value, to tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
So like that would be ideal. But like we're saying with Henderson, right? You're saying is his name.
Yeah.
That's something that we've already shown that we are willing to give up a first round draft pick for an elite player at a position of need for only on their second year of their rookie deal, which means when we're essentially picking up a first round draft pick by giving up our first round draft pick, and we have that player signed for 4 years, 3 years still within the deal, fourth year being the option year. So, that, and it worked out well with Minkah. Like, these situations are rare. They're rare and they're hard to find. We've already done a deal with Jacksonville. We already know them. They're very happy to get a 6th rounder for Schobert. We're very happy to get Schobert. Win-win. So, hey, you guys want a first round? I mean, I don't know if that's our approach. I don't know if Colbert is thinking, because Colbert is still going to be our GM for the draft. When he's signed through the draft. Then he decides whether or not he's going to re-up after the draft. That's the way his contract works. It's year to year. And I don't know if he's still currently thinking if next year is the year that we make a play for a quarterback. And if we do, we need that first round pick. So that would be the only thing that would stop us from making a move like that. If they, it also comes down to need. Like we kind of made that move just because we didn't have the safeties at all, and Ben went down, and the Steelers are like, we're not a losing franchise. We're here to win. Let's make our defense better. Let's have the defense carry us. And the defense carried us. The defense carried Duck and Rudolph to 8 wins. So it was nearly made the playoffs. And if we had seven slots, we would have been in. Like the Ravens backed into the playoffs last year with their 7th slot. But I digress. Yeah, but that's a good question. Very good question. Like the punt fake 2, chow, that Ben Roethlisberger, I can only do it with a Nerf ball. He can do it with a real football. Nerf balls make my hands look big. And here's a good music question. Tim Y, I love it when we ask questions that aren't always strictly Steelers related. This is a music question. Tim Y knows I love Les Claypool. Stryker, are you going to go see Primus do Rush Farewell to Kings? I would be tempted to go see that. A, because I love Primus, and anything that Les does is just amazing. I wasn't the biggest Rush fan, though technically Rush is one of the best bands out there. Like the stuff that they do rhythm-wise, bass-wise, drum-wise, guitar-wise. I didn't really like Pharrell's voice as much, but maybe that's because I should go watch with Primus. Maybe the voice would be different. I don't think he'll be trying to scream and squeal the way that he does. I think he'd probably do it within his own voice range. So I would definitely be interested in listening to it, and I want to hear it. So, but I don't know if I'll actually be going to a show, still COVID stuff. The only crowd I'm going to go to is the one when I go see Steelers games. That's the only one I'm planning on hitting crowds for. Cope, you sticking to Watt's contract reducing the cap? Yes, Bruce. We've been talking about this a lot on Steeler Nation. A lot of people saying, we got to create some space to get Watt signed. We got to create some space to get Watt signed. Watt is already counting 10 mil against the cap. So just simple math. If you're doing he's going to get a $100 million contract. He's going to get that. Now we got to talk about guaranteed money. Steelers have never given more than like 20 mil in guaranteed money. We'll probably push it to about 30, 35. That's probably what they're arguing. There's somewhere between 30 and 40 million right now for guaranteed money. But even if that guaranteed money pushes to 50,000, that is divided over 5 years, 10 million a year, and that's exactly what we're paying him on his rate this year. Now, obviously, his contract, his yearly salary would bump that number up. He'd come more against the cap in future years. But for this year, his signing bonus has to be bigger than $50 million, and I just don't see that happening for the first year of a contract. So I think that cap number is going to drop maybe by a couple mil, because every time the Steelers sign somebody to a new contract, they get a big signing bonus, all the money up front, league minimum yearly bonus or yearly salary. So the salary is usually right around $1 million. So that's the way they always do their stuff. Omar Khan's a smart dude. So yes, I think it's going to be a smaller number. The cap's going to grow a little bit by getting them, but I still don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger yet. This has been a long negotiation with Watt's hold in there, Colton.
Yeah, it stinks seeing this because I want to see him on the field. I want to see this thing over with, so I don't have to stress about it anymore. I think you're going to get it this week. I don't think the Steelers are going to mess around and let this thing linger on until the start of the season. Like, tough luck, kid. You're going to have to play the season here because you usually don't do deals during the season. It's not how they do things. They're going to get it done this week. I think they're going to be done messing around. They're going to pay him. Again, we've said it when I was on last time with you. He's holding out the correct way. He's doing it the right way.
Yep.
I saw him at the Eagles game. I'm yelling at him, you're getting your money. Don't worry about it. They're going to pay you.
Yep.
And they're going to take care of him. So I'm not really too concerned about it. He's doing it the right way, like I've mentioned. They're going to pay him. And if they have to give him a little bit more up front, especially this year with their salary cap being as low as they've gotten it, they might load this season up where it's a bigger hit this season. In the next 2 seasons, it's a little bit lower where they have stuff to move around with because Minka's got to be due next year, clearly. He's going to be the guy. Not because I believe they were the same years drafted. Maybe not. Maybe.
Minka and Watt.
Yeah, weren't they the same year?
Right? They were drafted the same year. Yeah, because – oh, no.
Or is Minka was the year later?
Well, yeah, no, you're right because aren't they both on their 5th-year option right now?
Yes, I believe they are.
Oh no, we just that's right. Sorry, they're a year apart. We just activated Minka's 5th option for next year, this year, and we declined. It was Minka and Edmonds the same year, and we declined Edmonds' 5th-year option. So we had the ability to option them both, but the Steelers go, you're not worth $8 million a year, Edmonds, and that's true. I think he's a $4 or $5 million guy right now, and they may still retain him for that much.
I think they will. I think they will retain him, unless someone throws money at him. But they're going to take care of him. So I think TJ might get a little bit more this year, so it frees up stuff for the years down the line where they have money to take a bigger hit on him this year with an extension, and later on he's not as big of a hit because they've cleared some money out. They're getting it done. So like, I get it's a little agitating, sitting here like, oh my God, I want to see him play and I want to see everything like good. But seeing him post stuff in Steeler uniform, I saw him posting that thing with the 3 kids. And he's in the Steeler gear. He posted like twice this week working out in the Steelers practice. He's got his Steeler stuff on, his helmet and everything. So like it's agitating not seeing the ink to the paper, but it's gonna get done, man. There's no way the Steelers botched this one. There's no way. There's no way.
And Brian Brown enjoyed the show with Tony the other day. Thank you, Tony DeFeo over at Behind the Steel Curtain. Brilliant guy. Awesome commentary, awesome author. So go read his articles over there. But good friend of mine, and we met even before we both were working for our Steelers represented companies, which is awesome too. So great to hang out with him. But he says Craig Wolfley calls our touchdown scoring tight end the Freiermuth, and it's awesome. That's cool. I like just plain Muth because you can't hear articles. You can't say the Freiermuth and everybody know what you're saying on field. So I think we're all just going to scream Muth on the field. But that is cool when you're listening for broadcasts. I do like that too, Brian Brown. That's cool. And
it's going to stick. You know that. The Muth's going to stick.
It will. And that's a good way to get rid of Heath because it's a different sound. It's like finally we're not thinking of Heath anymore. They're not like Ebron. We don't even do that. They're like, thank you for catching it. Thank you for holding on to that one.
But Ebron too, man. Oh my gosh, just drops another one today. Like,
his hand positioning is bunk. He's got. I mean, he's not gonna. He's an athletic guy, and he is what he is. He's gonna get open. He's a big dude. He's a great route runner. He's great on the second level once he has the ball in his hands, making people miss, going through people. But he uses his athletic ability and not his hand technique to catch footballs. And that's just going to annoy us at certain times. And hopefully it doesn't burn us.
He makes plays and then he'll like drop like that first down. It's like, what? Like, what is that? So
caught it with his body. And body catchers always drop footballs. Tight ends usually never catch with their body. It's rare to watch. Tight ends are hands catchers. It's usually because you got to turn around and catch the ball quickly. So you have to have your hands up quickly. You have to be ready quickly. That's why tight ends are generally have the best hand positioning on the field for most of your receivers. And after that, like your deep catchers are usually a lot more loose in their hand technique. We've had some good. Wallace had great hand technique. He had the elbow basket too. And I call that by like when you're catching deep balls, if you have your elbows out, ball can go right through. But he was an elbow in guy. Ball goes through, you catch it with your elbows and your forearm, pull it in. So it's one of I learned a lot of technique when I was a wide receiver. That was my thing. So yeah, and the other good follow-up question here by Daryl Zehner. 1 year in the backfield seems to have grown in talent exponentially. Who do you see being the last man standing? Who's on the outside looking in? I already know my take on this. Colton, I want to hear your take on this first.
What was it again?
For who the running backs you think they're going to keep? Like we think we're going to keep 4. Who are the 4 they're keeping?
I think it's Najee. McFarland is skyrocketed. He's looked
He's number 2. He is number 2, and especially the way he made that block in the backfield on the blitz pickup, freaking amazing. He's a lock for number 2.
He's looked outrageously better with Matt Canada, his head coach at Maryland. He's looked 1,000% better with him.
Yeah,
and I think it goes. Gosh. It's probably Jalen Samuels. I think they like the versatility. And Benny Snell can't catch the ball well out of the backfield. And I think that might be where he gets booted out. I think it's probably going to go Jalen Samuels because of that versatility. He's been here for a while. He knows the offense.
Yep.
I think that's
so you're saying Najee, McFarland, Samuels, and you get one more guy.
Balazs.
Okay, we're locked in. That's exactly the way I go too, and that's the way that the pecking order was tonight. It went Najee first, McFarland second. This time it was Balazs third. The last game it was Samuels third before
Balazs was banged up last game also. That's
true. True. Yeah, the one before. It was the Hall of Fame game.
Yes.
But that's probably also because of with Samuel's familiarity with the offense, his diversity, his ability to catch and run, which I do love too. And then Balazs, obviously, he looked great again tonight, especially had that big catch and run on the outside edge for a big first down as well with Haskins. So, yeah, I definitely see him. Or was that Haskins? Or that was Rudolph? I can't remember. Either way, looked good. So those are my 4 too. I agree with you completely. Obviously, Watt being the fullback. Edmonds probably reverting to the practice squad as well. But Snell is still practice squad eligible. They can put him on there.
I think he's going to get swooped up. He's a good running back. Problem is versatility is big nowadays out of your running backs, and he's not as versatile as the other 4 guys we just mentioned.
Yeah. Chico Man 67. Hola, Cope. Hola, Chico Man. ¿Cómo está? Good to see you, man. I'm glad to see our Spanish and Latin Steeler fans always chiming in. We always have a great time and have a great representation as well over at the SteelerNation.com forum. So great to see you over here, Chico, man. We're not sending Bud Lights to Montana, Frank. That's a waste. I don't live in the Pittsburgh area too. I can't get them. If you jump onto SteelerNation.com, go to the football forum, ask that question to try to get Steelers Bud Lights in Great Falls, Montana, because we do have a person that posts that actually runs a brewery in Montana, and his name is Wig, W-I-G. You go join our forum at SteelerNation.com football forum. It's free to join. Talk to Wig, PM Wig. He will help you out to find whatever beer you want, and you'll have a blast. Ben looked great. Great first-team offense. Muth had incredible catch radius. Credit Adrian Clem for the work he has done with the young O-line. Great points, Chico. Awesome. And then we have Latin Steeler Nation jumping in with Carlos Goncalves from Venezuela. Shout out to the great striker just passing by to say hello. Hello, Carlos Lidos over at SteelerNation.com. Visiting my parents, and the internet sucks here. Cheers to Steeler Nation. Nice, man. Are you still in Venezuela? Let us know. Chime back in. I don't know if you're visiting your parents in our country, your country, whichever country you may be in, because Steeler Nation is worldwide. Steeler worldwide. Not just the nation. So Bruce is asking, and this is a good question for the both of us here, Colton. Do they keep Haskins on a 1-year deal or pay a bit to get him into camp for sure for next season?
I would lock him up. There was a post on Twitter, and I commented on it. There was a guy when Mason Rudolph completes a pass, and it was Mike Tomlin, and it was when Rudolph completes a pass, and it was just a plain face, all right, cool. And I'm sad to admit that's me. I'm that guy.
That's Louis Riddick too. That's me. Yeah, I mean, we all get super excited every time Haskins when he runs for a first down. Oh my gosh, you're in for a first down! Ah!
It just feels different with him there, man. It just does. And that's nothing against Rudolph because again, Rudolph made some nice throws tonight. He made some plays against Cleveland week 17, almost knocked the Browns out.
Yeah.
It just looks different with Haskins back there. He looks more comfortable. He's getting out of the pocket where I never see Rudolph get out of the pocket. I don't know if it's because of the Earl Thomas hit. Because when he came in for Ben after Ben got hurt that season, he looked good against Seattle. He's out of the pocket, slinging the ball. Then he gets hurt against Baltimore, and you never really even see him leave the pocket again because he left the pocket in that play, making something with his legs. Earl Thomas is coming at him. He's dumping it over the top to Washington. First down, big play, move the sticks. And he got his bell rung, clearly knocked out. And to be honest, I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen him scramble. I couldn't see him outside the pocket. It's usually he's in the pocket. If the pressure's getting to him, he crabs himself and throws something up. And you got to be able to move in the NFL nowadays. Look what quarterbacks are coming out of college. You have to have your legs. And Rudolph can move.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that shot changed his game. And just watching Haskins,
he seemed to be more aggressive before the shot.
Yeah,
like
it's
and
just
more, a
Haskins
little bit more
getting out of the
confident.
way.
But still, I don't see him with happy feet. I don't see him with his foot positioning isn't giving away his ability to make plays. I still think he looks solid in there, and his numbers were good from this game. He was 13 for 18, and his 3 drives were field goal, field goal, field goal. He ended every single drive with points on the board. So I it's the same thing. It's like Rudolph right now is the steady guy that's making plays.
He's your
Getting
backup.
the ball down the field. He's not getting touchdowns, but he's getting points on the board. Now, Haskins is your sports car. When he's out there, he's on the field. He's making plays with his legs. He's making plays with his arm, and he's ringing up points in the end zone. That's the big thing. That's what really gets you noticed for Steeler Nation. And to me, like, just the way that I think that they pushed each other, I think that Haskins has made Rudolph better this year. I think Rudolph has made Haskins competitive. I mean, it's nice to be able to be in a situation too where you were like number 1 pick, 15th overall. You have to be the guy in a shithole like Washington, and now you're just one of the guys. Hey, relax a little bit, learn the playbook. You got a lot of talent around you, man. You don't have to worry about every single throw. The whole city isn't, worrying about you to be the savior because their front office can't stop taking naked pictures of their cheerleaders. I mean, you get rid of that crap hole, the dumpster fire of Washington, where they don't even have a mascot because they're racists. So now they got a guy who's finally out of that system, finally into a good place in Pittsburgh. Third on the depth chart, and the reason why he's third on the depth chart too is I think that is still a coaching move to try to force him to want to be better, and I think he has. I think he's really shown that he wants to be the number 2 guy. He wants to compete, and he's not like I thought. Yeah, he got a couple good games. Is he going to fall off? I don't see any fall off yet in his game. He's still making good decisions. I mean, that one pass was it the pass in the end zone that got dropped that could have been intercepted? Was that? I think that one was Haskins though.
That was Mason.
That was Mason
Tonight. Yeah, that.
Oh, never mind. That was Mason. Yeah, that was bad. That's probably Mason's worst throw in all of preseason. Yeah. Just a bad decision into double coverage. So I'm glad that wasn't Haskins, but it doesn't matter either way. But yeah, we still have a lot more to see out of Haskins. But I agree. I think that the Steelers should make a concerted effort to try to lock him up for a 2-3 year contract because I think they've already shown he's outplayed his 1 year contract. He's already shown he is definitely more than a camp body. He is a roster dude. And since we only have 1 guy on the roster next year, we might as well have 2 on the roster. That can only be good things.
And it allows you mid-season, if someone loses a guy, where Mason's expandable, where you can play that card because Haskins has the experience as a starting quarterback. He's looked good in camp. He's starting to know the playbook. So if, God forbid, a quarterback does get hurt in the middle of the season where it's like, Pittsburgh, I know Mason had that full year. We'll give you a 5th-round pick for him, 4th-round pick. You win, and he's expandable. You can get a pick for him, and you got Haskins sitting there as your backup. Yeah. I really, really want to see Haskins with better receivers and with the first team. And I know that's not priority. I know everyone's yelled at me in the group chat about this because I'm like, gosh, I just want to see Haskins with the better receivers and I just want to see him against better competition because seeing him sling it and throwing these balls, I'm like, yeah, it's like he looks really good, but then it's like, oh, he's playing third stringers on the other team. His arm is just special. I've never heard Ben talk so highly of Mason. I know he was upset when they drafted Mason.
Yeah,
He's just talked about how different Haskins' arm is.
Yeah.
This kid's he's got it. Mm-hmm. And I watched him at Ohio State. Yeah. He can throw the football. He's got a special arm talent. It's really good. And seeing him move today, he can move.
Yep.
So it's just
tied for the.
I'm gonna stop beating a dead horse. I just want to see him play with some better receivers because in that Philly game, I'm watching him weeding throws into open areas. But these 4th, 5th string receivers don't know to fill that hole. He's not leading you to death. He's leading you to an open hole to fly up the seam.
Right.
It just the ball just flies off his hand. I'm sitting there, I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, that incompletion that he threw today off his back foot down the right, it was like a 30-yard, and he just like that, and it was on a rope. He overthrew the player, and I was like, whoa! Like he overthrew Anthony Johnson on that play.
Yes.
And I just was like, wow, that ball was on a line, man. You don't expect just an arm motion. He didn't even step into it. It was just like, it was like a rocket down the field. Yeah, that's a great point. Great show tonight. Thanks from Saskatchewan. Nice. Hey, Bruce in Canada, eh? Good to hear you Canadians up there having a good time watching them Steelers, eh? Good to hear. And we got Daryl Zahner as well. Quick one here. I saw Chow asked, was Barry or Harvin holding for Boz? What I saw was Barry when I noticed. I didn't watch the first couple. Did you see they were switching?
Yes.
So Harvin was doing it early. I saw Barry doing it late.
Yeah, Batch touched on that because when again, like you just said,
Okay.
you don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah.
I paid attention to the game I was at because I'm like, dude, I just want to see Percy, let's go.
Right. And he had a great first boot too. That 50-yarder was a nil return with three guys around him.
Yep. No, because like I said, I believe Batch mentioned it since he kicked like 4 field goals today, Boz. I believe he said they were switching. So
yeah. And Carlos Goncalves was he's in Venezuela now, but he was in Miami and Minneapolis. Wow, that's a big tour of the country there, Litos. That's awesome. For nearly a month. I hope you had a good time. I hope it was a nice vacation for you. Daryl Zine, I don't know if it's Zener or Ziner, but coming from Facebook, although the O-line was totally destroyed in the offseason, the first quarter, the players looked good in their positions. Is it a mirage, or did the front office do that good of a job replacing and rebuilding that quickly? And for me, I don't think that they're more talented with the players that they had from last year, but the scheme is going to help out everyone this year. It's gonna be tough to run stunts against a team that has so much motion going on at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be tough to do anything cerebral at the line of scrimmage to try to counter what the Steelers' offense is doing. Even with your blitzes, and you got to slow down. It might slow down some of the blitzes coming up. But when your job as an offensive lineman is the majority of the time to block against the run, that's what you're built for. That's what you're used to doing. You can do that. It's easier. And we did pick up some guys that are run blockers. Dotson, Green, Moore. Last 3 big offensive tackle or offensive linemen we picked up. All 3 are big run blockers. We already know Banner's a huge run blocker. Chooks is a little bit better at the run block, and then he's probably our weakest run blocker to tell you out of the 5, but I still think he's serviceable and he's good. We just have to see how they do in the pass defense too, because ultimately, as long as we don't get people getting hit in the backfield, we're going to keep the ball a little longer.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And I think some of the guys they let go, DeCastro's a little banged up, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, so that might also played a role. Pouncey was kind of on his way out. And Al's getting his rear end kicked right now in Baltimore. He's not having a good camp there either, and he wasn't that good for them last year.
No, you're starting to see, and that was the thing with the line last year. You were starting to see the line age. Villanueva wasn't the same player. Pouncey wasn't the same player. David DeCastro definitely wasn't the same player. And, like you were saying when we talked about this, when we were on podcast together, when you start talking about retirement, you're already retired. And that's what DeCastro started talking about last season. I mean, he knew he was dealing with those bone spurs or those bone fragments in his ankle that 2 surgeries didn't replace, and the third one may or may not. He's just like, I'm done. And I don't blame him. Don't blame him at all for it. Chico Man also with a good question for us. What are your thoughts on some of the bubble guys in our secondary? Norwood, Mollett, Brooks, Lane, Steiner. Of those 5, who do you like? And he said he thought Lane looked good tonight. I agree with that aspect.
Yeah, I think they've liked the growth of Justin Lane from year 1 to year 2. I think they like Antoine Brooks. Mollett, I believe, got banged up today, so I don't know how serious that injury is, where that might –
I thought he stood out well tonight. Like tonight was like the one where I noticed him the most early on before he got banged up.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much that ding is, because that might play in a factor of cut, or he gets put on the PUP list or something. I'm not sure, so hopefully he's not dinged up bad. But I think those guys are kind of standing out. I think Brooks, Justin Lane, really stick out to me because I think they both have gotten a lot better from year one. Year two.
And I'll bring up Killebrew also. It wasn't on your sheet here, Chico Man, but Killebrew stood out to me today. He showed he was willing to step up. Maybe that was the person I was remembering instead of Mallet. Yeah, it was Killebrew. Killebrew was coming up and laying the wood. He had one really big smack on the tight end that caught the ball down the seam for like a 18-yard gain. It looked like he hit the ball hard, like he hit him hard enough where he should have dropped that ball and he didn't. Like, credit the tight end for hanging on to that ball. But Killebrew laid the wood on that play. He came up on another run play and hit a running back in the hole. So I liked what I saw out of him, and I like Norwood as well. I like the diversity of Norwood. They're moving around the field a lot. You don't know if he's going to be strong at the strong safety position, free safety position, dime position, or moving him down into the slot because he's been playing kind of a little bit all over. And Brooks
on draft day, Swift Army in that few years.
Yep, and they love those kind of guys. Like that's
special teams also made a play today. He made a tackle on special teams.
Right. Good point. But like I like Brooks too. I think Brooks is probably still has the inside track to be in that starting slot guy, but they may work Sutton in there as well. I think they kind of had to press Sutton because Brooks was hurt. Now when Brooks comes back healthy, they'll see what they have. So Dobbs Max 2. Would like to see where that goes. Yeah, Frank Ricard over there asked Twitter liked what Dobbs is doing, and I was hoping like Dobbs is definitely not making this team, not for his ability. I think Alex Kazor tracked him, and he had his best completion percentage ever for a training camp, and it was like 70-some%, where he's usually right around 50s in the 50s. Steelers will try to parlay that into a draft pick. If they can get a 6 or 7, that is a win. Because that would be 2 draft picks we got out of the same quarterback. And it's just like a nice chess move there for Kevin Colbert, who's just hitting it out of the park this year. Absolutely hitting it out of the park, both in the draft and in free agency.
One of the best GMs for a reason. Everyone forgets about him until around the 412 boys made the best tweet when Kevin Colbert's name pops up in the caller ID from The Simpsons. I'm in danger. What it is. It's serious. It's what it is, man. He's coming to make something, coming to rob you in some way or another.
And it's Daryl Ziner. Thank you for telling me, Daryl. I will have that correct anytime you jump on now. Nice to meet you. I knew some Zainers back when we were living in upstate Pennsylvania. So that's why my mind goes to there first. But good to meet you, Daryl Ziner, and thanks for chiming in. Another question here from Chico Man. Thoughts on Matt Sexton? 2 nice returns so far in the preseason. If James Washington gets traded, does Sexton make the roster? I know exactly my answer, so I'd like to hear yours first, Cole.
They're not trading Washington.
But what if? We're doing Marvel What If. This is Marvel What If right now, right?
I still say no. One.
Yeah.
Because Ray McLeod's the guy back there. Ray hasn't done anything to lose the job. He had a few nice returns tonight. Looks like he's kind of getting that swagger back to him. And he's getting more involved in the passing game. It kind of reminds me of Ant McFarland as a receiver.
Yes.
Ant McFarland as a running back is what he's doing with Ray McLeod. So I think that is kind of the way it goes. Isn't White having a good camp, 15 right now?
Yeah, Cody White's having a great camp. So is Anthony Johnson. They like him a lot. And for me, who would I keep? If I lose Washington, it means that I lost a Z receiver who doesn't give me anything in special teams. How I replace that would be with Anthony Johnson, who's a Z receiver and plays all the special teams. So especially when we have Claypool, who's a Z receiver and plays all the special teams, how many special teams are you going to really have Claypool playing this year? Do you want to rotate him out a little bit and put other people in? And that's when you got to start thinking about putting other guys up there, because now we're at the point where we're like, yeah, we don't need Deontay Johnson out there returning punts anymore, even though he was an all-pro at it. We're fine with him just catching footballs when he catches them.
He's gotten better. He's looked good this.
Yeah,
he's got his catches down. I haven't seen it.
And that's the odd things. Like I'm a receiver guy. I track guys. Like I said, his route running off the charts. When he was drafted, I thought he was the best receiver I've ever seen at getting open at the line of scrimmage the day he was drafted. Never seen that. Just you couldn't press him. He has different moves, swims, spins, like head fakes where he's not even touched when somebody's trying to jam you at the line. And they whiff because he's got such these great quick foot moves. But his hand positioning is spot on. Like he's not dropping balls because he has his hands like this or like this. Like he has his hands palm to palm. So a lot of times what happens when you're dropping the ball that way, they call it soft hands. And I like that we're doing video now so people can actually see what soft hands are because I can explain it. When the ball comes to hit you, you give. Like you bring your hand in when it comes in. You come with the ball. So you're bringing your hands in on the ball. It's called soft hands. Sometimes when you're turning around, you're really excited and you show your ball, your hands are a little stiff because you're facing them immediately. And as soon as you open them up, the ball hits it when it's open like that. And then you don't close quick enough and it hits the ground. And that's called stone hand conditions. And a lot of people hear, oh, that receiver's got stone hands. It's not his bad with him because his technique is generally spot on. I just think sometimes he's not ready for the football or he's trying to do too much before he brings it in because his hand positioning's there. His route running is definitely there. It's off the charts. I mean, the PFF, as we've already talked about on our podcast, Colton, they have him rated as the best receiver at getting the most yardage off of every break. He's, like right around nearly 2 yards separation every time he runs a route. So
he's their best overall receiver. I said this last year. I had people asking me the same thing. Fans said, like, yo, what receivers for Pittsburgh? I'm like, I wouldn't touch Juju. I love him to death. I just don't know how it's going to be. I think Deontay Johnson is their best overall receiver. And Deontay Johnson was pretty dang good last year for them fantasy-wise.
Yeah.
He's their best route runner, man. He's their best receiver overall.
He is. I agree.
It's a little different. Clearly, he's going to stretch the field more, but their best overall receiver, I think it's Deontay Johnson. And like you said, I think he was just asked to do way too much, and his eyes were getting off the ball because he's looking to do what he's going to do next after catching it at the line of scrimmage. And I think that's why he had a lot of his drops. I think in this offense where it's not going to be a lot of drag routes and 2-yard freaking out routes, 2-yard bubble screen kind of deals, they're going to get him out and let him eat because he's going to get open. And so far, you haven't really seen him drop the ball.
And he can legitimately be an AB receiver. He literally he has a higher ceiling than Antonio Brown had coming out of college. Antonio Brown had questionable hands in college. I thought coming out of college, Deontay Johnson had better hands than Antonio Brown. But Antonio Brown worked, and he's a hard worker. Like nobody practices like Antonio and trains like Antonio Brown. That's why he was so good. If Deontay Johnson can get in that kind of mindset where he can elevate his game, I know that they said on the broadcast he's working with like tennis ball machines and everything just so he can work on concentration and not dropping stuff. Whatever he does can help. Anything he does can help. And I'd love to see it because the sky is the limit for that type of guy because he gets more open than Antonio Brown. And Antonio Brown gets open too because he's an excellent route runner. But he had perfect hands. Perfect hands. He'd have like 100 catches, 1 drop. Like we're talking about Larry Fitzgerald numbers. They go a whole season, 100 catches with 0 drops. That happened a couple times with both of those guys. And that's amazing to think that you're better than 1% of dropping 1% of your balls when you catch 100 balls, which is insanely good. 0%. You didn't drop any. Had 127 catches. And we're talking about like if you have 1 or 2 drops, and he's had like 150 catches those years. It's insane the amount of 160. It's like insane the amount of catches that guy was grabbing.
He's like I said, the talent is the limit for this kid.
Yeah.
Like you said, Antonio Brown was really nothing out of college. It was kind of a fly on the wall. Let's see if it sticks here, and it stuck. Deontay Johnson was an impact year 1 right away, and he's been ever since. Antonio Brown took 2 or 3 years to get going. There's a special team guy. Yeah. Deontay was a special team guy, made some plays for them.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah, he's just explosive. And I get why they were doing all the drag routes and trying to get him after the catch, but let him go out and he's going to eat a corner. And it might be instead of just 10 yards, he might take one to the house like Antonio Brown used to. So
right.
Let's get this guy out.
One person to skate because the guy's a kick returner. He knows how to run in space and get open and get in the end zone. So, and Kenny Beamer asking, what do y'all think about Alex Highsmith tonight? Monster. I thought him with Ingram tonight looked amazing. I thought Ingram looked awesome out there, especially to have a Pro Bowler backing up as your third, fourth best, outside linebacker coming in. He's probably going to be the third. He'll probably be next on if Watt or Highsmith needs a breather before Marsh or But Jones, you got to start talking about who are you going to keep, Marsh or Jones? Because I thought it was like a Marsh or Roche question now. But Marsh has shown he's playing well. He's really done a lot of work in the offseason and really prepped himself to look good.
I think it's got to go Jones over the past 2 weeks. I thought Marsh wasn't as explosive today.
Mm-hmm.
Last week he made a few plays last week. He got his name in there, but Jones has been in there every game. It's one of those things you keep hearing his name. It's like you hear his name for a reason. It's not like they're just announcing like, oh, there's another Jones on the field. No, he's just involved.
Who that? Jarvis Jones? What's going on over there? He answers. I'm not sure. That Jarvis Jones. No, that's Jarvis Jones.
Get him out of here.
Jarvis Jones. No.
Don't bring that name up around here.
I know, man. We had Jarvis Landry and Jarvis Jones, and we didn't have Jesus Jones. But right here, right now, we had two guys that did not make it on the Steelers roster with that name association.
Yeah, I think he's got to be ahead of Marsh at the moment. He looks really good. He's made his mark. He really has.
Yeah, and Daryl Ziner's asking us, who worked harder, AB or Hines?
I gotta go AB.
I'd have to say as a practice guy, AB, but I think on the field, Hines had like this for working harder. Yeah. Nobody's going to block like Hines. No, AB could not block like Hines. I mean, he's going to run his roots hard, and they both ran roots hard, and they're both going to try to get yards after the catch. And Hines Ward had a bigger body where he could really move people that were trying to tackle him. He was like a mini linebacker out there catching as a wide receiver. But that AB moment where he's got, was it Ray Lewis and Ed Reed trying to stop him at the 1 yard line on Christmas Day, where he gives all of Steeler Nation a gift just by reaching out over that line. That was just beautiful. That's a beautiful play. I can see the argument either way on that one, but for me personally, Hines is my guy. I just loved. Hines just had all the intangibles. AB, what he did with less, sixth-round draft pick to be the best receiver in the league for arguably 5-6 years, up there in the top 3, unquestioned, just depending on what you want in a receiver. But they're just both amazing stories. I'd like them both to get in the Hall, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree because Hines just did all the dirty work, and Antonio Brown turned into that typical wide receiver diva where it's like, they're the divas. He turned into one, sadly, and
Hines never did. Like, he had his holdout the one time, but he was still humbled during his holdout because Bettis called him up and said, like, dude, you got to get your ass in camp because they're not gonna sign you if you don't show up. Like, you're gone. You're not gonna be a Steeler anymore. And then Hines is like, all right, I'm going back to camp. Came back to camp. He got a big contract. Boom, done.
Again, we talk how much we love Juju. Hines is Juju's so much like Hines, and Hines was a Steeler through and through. And that's what Juju is, man. And nothing against Brown. I loved AB. I was the biggest.
I did too.
I loved him, and it just got to his head. And you heard stuff from Troy and Ryan Clark, and it just wasn't a good look. It didn't turn out the way, and it wasn't a way the Steeler organization just ran. And they took care of him. That's what sucked about the whole thing. Yeah. So Hines, I have to agree. I hear your stance on that, but the work ethic from just what AB was to where he went as a Steeler, it's hard not to. But they're both great in their own rights, and thank God we have someone very close to both those players, Deontay Johnson, like AB, and Juju fits the perfect role of Hines Ward. My gosh, it's to a T. Yeah. To be honest with you, you look at last year. I watched so much of him last year, and I'm like, these tough 3rd and 5s. It's like, dude, he's stopped 2 yards short. Next one, boom, he's
Oh yeah, that one where he spun on his back and dove backwards on the sideline to get the first down. I'm like, where he was just going to go down. Like if his butt hit the ground, he did not get that first down, but he like twisted on his back, jumped for like 4 yards and reached out for that first down. Like that is the epitome of a Juju Smith-Schuster doing it all like Hines Ward used to do. But I don't think Hines wasn't that athletic. He couldn't have spun and like dove backwards. But he didn't have the height that Juju had and the reach and extension, but he was a pit bull, man. That guy was a pit bull. Chico Man also with us too. Receiving core reminds me of early 2000s. Edward, L, Burris, and Ward. I don't remember L and Edwards playing together though. L, Burris, and Ward. Everyone was so high on Edwards, L, and Burris, but it was Hines Ward who just kept the chains moving. Juju is Ward, and I agree. We've been saying that tonight. And one thing I want to talk about too quickly before we leave the show, Juju did go to the blue tent. It did look like he was looking at his hand. And from what I saw, it looked like he was looking at his thumb, this muscle right here on your thumb, which you can jam or strain. It didn't look like it was a huge deal. I doubt he's going to miss much time. It's a painful injury, but as long as you don't tear anything, you can play with it.
Yeah, he looked fine after. They thankfully showed it on TV, him coming out of the tent. That's what's the only good thing about having a Steelers broadcast is they were getting all the information there, and it looked like he looked fine. He was chilling on the sideline. He didn't go in to the locker room or anything. So, yeah, that's always a good sign.
AB really threw away a Hall of Fame career. He was on pace to break 80% of Jerry Rice's receiving records until he went insane. So sad to see his career spiral out of control when he was become now. And that's Chico Man. Thanks for chiming in too, Chico. I still think he can make the Hall of Fame. He just won another Super Bowl, or he just won it. Never mind. He won his first Super Bowl. Damn it. Oh, I had that repressed. Damn it. All right. Yeah. So yeah, he won a Super Bowl. If he keeps playing well with Tom Brady, which he should, because Tom Brady's always wanted that type of player on his team. They wanted Emmanuel Sanders when he was available. They tried to get him when he was a restricted free agent, and Steelers signed him after that. But he loves those great route running receivers, and he never really had one there. Outside of Brown, the Brown that they had, the one that also played both sides of football, played slot corner too over there. He's a heck of a Troy Brown. Really like that player on their earlier teams. But yeah, until they got their young white dudes that could run routes ad nauseum. Yeah, they had a bunch of them.
He loves AB, man. He loves him. That's his guy.
Yeah. But AB can do it better than any of those guys. Like, he's a better route runner, better hands than all those guys. Daryl Ziner, thanks, guys. Great insights, opinions. Have a great night. Steeler Nation rise. Thank you, Ziner. Good meeting you. Good knowing. AB won't finish the season, already falling apart. I don't know about that, Ziner. We'll see how he does. Like, he's always got to deal with something. You know that guy. But I hope he gets his stuff together. Hopefully Brady's a good influence on the dude. Cheers, Chico. Cheers to all you guys, Steeler Nation. Colton, thank you for jumping on. I'm glad that you got the link, and we were able to communicate through the chat so I can get to the link, because I wasn't checking my phone. I had so much stuff running on the computer that I couldn't.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I messaged you like as soon as the game got turned off. I'm like, all right, let me shoot him a message, see if he wants to jump on it. Next one, I got a link that you're on. I'm like,
yeah, I jumped on as soon as I saw that they weren't coming back. Like, I went to the bathroom, like, screw it, I'm going live, and I found a feed so I can at least, like, I'll tell Steeler Nation what's going on as we're watching this, because nothing pisses me off more than leaving our coverage. And that did suck. Maybe in the future, NFL Network, we understand that you're cutting away from our fourth stringers to watch another team's starting team, but maybe you go tape delay. Think about it.
Or split the screens.
But the Steelers, yeah, we're going to split screen. Because I didn't care that they were talking. I'm just like, and they had the Steelers like in the little box, and I'm like, fuck it, I can ignore you guys. I'm going to watch the little box. And then they just like, took the box away. It was 3rd and 20. I'm like, no! And I guess they converted it because I finally found a feed, and like Detroit still had the ball. I'm like, how did they convert a 3rd and 20? Huh? 3rd and 30. I don't know. This is an insane amount. I assume it had to be a penalty. But I didn't know. I didn't see it. Most of Steeler Nation did not see it unless you're sitting there live in Pittsburgh, watching it on local television, or listening to the crew on radio and locally. But a lot of fun. But Steeler Nation, always good to talk to you, Colton. Always great to talk to you too. Thank you for jumping on and adding to the conversation as well. Great thought-provoking stuff as always, man. I can't wait till we get back on the show. I know I got some famous people to roll through here these next couple podcasts now. It's
love the work.
It's crazy. Everybody. That's why I've got to do multiple podcasts a week now, because I've got to have you. We've got to do our normal show and talk about the stuff coming up. But these people, as soon as you start having a Louis Riddick on the show, they're like, "Oh, I need to talk with Stryker."
Yeah. That interview was great.
Thank you, man. Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, it was such a blessing to be able to talk to somebody like that. It's just, guy was in the league, director of pro personnel for 2 NFL teams, been in broadcasting for over a decade. The guy knows his stuff, man.
It's always different when you talk to people that are full on that field.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was nuts when I was talking to Matt Starks. I was like, "Holy crap, dude!"
Yeah. Starks is killing it too, man. Now he's on the broadcast.
Yep,
that's awesome. And then and your podcast was amazing too. The Personal Foul podcast, guys, check that out as well, because we have a great podcast where Colton gets to interview Max Starks, and it's an excellent interview, and it's one that has to be listened to. Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun. So it was fun talking to those people. So that's why I love the Louis Riddick interview. That was awesome. Just hearing the football gurus, man, it's something different.
And I'll tell you the thing that surprised me the most about Louis Riddick. I didn't know he was. I knew he's a technician, a statistician, understood the game inside and out. I didn't know he was such a fan of the game, and to see his emotion about talking about the things that he loves about football. It's fan emotion, and it's relatable for us, the fans, to be able to hear a guy that has this much experience across the board in pro football and still be able to show that exuberance that he has for the game. That was the most impressive thing to me that I really enjoyed about our conversation.
It's like you said, when you have those football gurus and this love of the game, it's just different. It really is.
Nice. Well, great show, guys. Kenny, Frank, everybody, awesome. Till next time, we'll see you guys soon. We'll see you guys on the podcast next week. I think I'm going to have Brad Lambert on Tuesday, who used to be on the podcast with us. And that was like when I started 3 years ago, he was my first co-host because he was with the guy previous to me. But now he's doing work out in Hollywood representing. He's in management. He works on the Marvel films and promotes Marvel films. He's at Brad L. Lambert, I believe, on his social media. So go out and check his stuff out. He was one of the people responsible for getting the Infinity Gauntlet from the actor that does Iron Man. Why am I drawing a blank on him?
Oh, geez.
Now you're doing it. Well, Iron Man. Gosh, he's got 3 names. What's his freaking name? They all have 3 names. But yeah, he was in charge of getting that glove from that actor to Hayward, and in exchange for a signed jersey. Robert Downey Jr. Thank you, Kenneth Beamer. Oh, you guys, Steeler Nation still coming through in the clutch. Love it. And he just gave me a Robert, so at least I got the other 2 names from that. So thank you for the word association there, Kenneth. Appreciate it, as always. So Steeler Nation, till the next time, Tuesday, we'll be jumping back on here. I'll have the times out here probably on Twitter and, of course, over at SteelerNation.com. I'll be throwing that up on the football forum once we got everything finalized. So thank you, Colton, as well, for being part of the show. And as always, Steeler Nation, go.